March soybeans were sharply lower in a outside reversal down day. That is after posting new recent highs since January 11th at 1247 and a half. However, we closed at 1223, and that's well below yesterday's low of 1235 and a quarter. So that outside reversal down day, closing or getting above the previous day's high and then closing below the previous day's low, engulfing all of yesterday's trade range, is a relatively negative factor on a chart. In fact, some people would call that a key reversal. However, in my book, it is not, because we did not set a new extreme, i.e. a contract high or a contract low. But again, it was a new recent high and was the culmination of a bounce off the psychological $12 support level. But yeah, rather spectacular rejection of today's high, which was also the 20-day moving average. So kind of a negative feature on the chart after what had been a positive week and really positive since last Thursday. So we'll have to see how the chart develops from here. In the meantime, we had weekly export sales. This was probably the fundamental trigger for today's reversal lower. Export sales were poor. This is the time of year where we expect to see really nice export sales. This is what we call our window of opportunity because relatively soon now, Brazil will take over and their window will open as ours closes. We kind of trade halves of the year, so to speak, because of the hemispheres being on different weather time frames, where we're in the middle of winter, they're in the middle of summer. So we kind of switch back and forth as to who is dominating the global market as far as soybean trade. So our window is coming to a close here relatively soon as Brazil is getting into harvest. So we really would like to see some bigger numbers right now. Today was not the case. 561,000 metric tons of soybeans sold in the previous week. That's not a lot. The expectations were for 700,000 to 1.2 million metric tons, and that was well below expectations. Now, that also included a reduction of 235,000 metric tons to unknown destinations. The trade has been worried about cancellations, and that reduction that we saw on that export sales report, I think, sparked a little bit of fear and some new selling coming into the market, certainly covering some of the longs that may have been placed earlier in the week. So export sales was a wet blanket on the market, and that was followed up with a negative technical day as well. Now, going forward, we will be paying attention to Argentinian weather. They have a bit of a hotter, drier spell in front of them after what had been some pretty ideal conditions for them. So depending on how long that goes for, it may or may not be a bit of a problem. We'll be monitoring that. The trade will be monitoring that, as we will also be watching Brazil weather, but in particular watching how the Brazilian soybean harvest progresses, because the sooner that they can get their soybean product to port, the sooner their window of opportunity for exports opens up. So lots of things to be considering and watching in the soybean market going forward. And in the meantime, have a wonderful day and stay safe.